Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Martial Universe Season 6 based on novel. So let's start. The sound of rushing wind was heard as a couple of figures flitted past the thick forest, their agile bodies like monkeys. The complicated terrain within the forest was no hindrance to them at all. Brother Lin Dong, all the competitors who have entered this core region should be heading towards the 100 Empire Mountain, which is the most central location in this place. Not only is it the most central location, it should also be the final competition venue. A figure gently pressed his toes on a tree branch, catching up to another figure in front as he uttered. The figure at the front turned his head when he heard this, revealing a familiar face. This person was Lin Dong. Lin Dong's group did not delay after resolving the trouble that Liu Cheng's group had brought. Instead, they immediately set off. After all, the 100 Empire War had already begun, and it would be a pity if they were to miss it. The 100 Empire Mountain Her. Lin Dong slightly nodded. Clearly, he had also heard of this final area. It was the final gathering point of the countless number of experts in this ancient battlefield domain. Of course, all who could reach that place were genuine experts who stood out within this ancient battlefield. Only these people possessed the qualification to eventually be selected by the super sects. Ha, Brother Lin Dong, with your group's current strength, even some of the ordinary super empires would not dare to offend you. I think that you will definitely be able to catch the eye of those super sects. Su Kuei's tone was not without envy. He clearly understood that his talent was quite good, but there was still quite a big gap when compared to Lin Dong's group. If it were not for Lin Dong's group, it was likely that he would not have reached this point. The only thing that caused him to rejoice a little was that his only younger sister now possessed such a great opportunity. In this way, his trip would not be in vain if she was selected in the end. Relax, as long as those super sects discover the energy within Suru's body, they will definitely select her. At that time, they would also show their favor to those around her. You cannot escape even if you want to. Little Martin teased. Then I will become their losing investment, Su Kuei rejoiced. His self-mocking words made Lin Dong's group laugh. However, Brother Lin Dong, even the super empires are divided into stronger and weaker ones. Amongst them are some exceptionally monstrous existences. We should be careful if we meet those empires in future. Su Kuei once again reminded after joking. Lin Dong nodded. He would naturally not be arrogant, just because he had defeated the Wind Cloud Empire. He was similarly aware that despite the Wind Cloud Empire being a super empire, it could not be considered top tier amongst the countless empires in the eastern Xian region. From what he knew, there were some exceptionally special super empires whose strength exceeded the realm of empires. Although they were still unable to compare with those extremely powerful super sects, they were far from what an ordinary super empire could compare to. The monsters and geniuses from those super empires were incomparably troublesome to deal with. All of them were truly blessed sons of the heavens. The martial arts and soul treasures they had were the best of the best. With such resources, talent and intellect, none of these monsters would be easy to deal with. Brother Su Kuei, do you know how powerful the Great Gan Empire is? Lin Dong suddenly recalled the Fire General and the Mountain General, who had once exchanged blows with him. They had come from the Great Gan Empire. The Great Gan Empire, They are indeed very strong. At the very least, they are one level stronger than the Wind Cloud Empire. Their 3 kings and 4 generals are all quite well known. Su Kuei was startled for a moment before replying. Oh, they are a level stronger than the Wind Cloud Empire. Lin Dong was a little surprised. Back then, the Fire General and Mountain General were not too troublesome to deal with. Their strength was only at the peak of the 3-yuan nirvana stage. It was unexpected that the Great Gen Empire was so much stronger than the Wind Cloud Empire. From the looks of it, the so-called Three Kings should be existences that surpassed Feng Kang. Who knew how many of them had advanced to the 5-yuan nirvana stage? They are indeed a little troublesome, Lin Dong softly muttered to himself. He might not have a great grudge with the Great Gen Empire, but now that he was in the core region, everyone was a competitor. No one could be certain they would be attacked because of their 3 heavenly grade nirvana seal. Why? Does Brother Lin Dong have some grudge with them? Su Kuei softly asked after seeing Lin Dong's expression. We had a small disagreement. Lin Dong smiled, not bothering to hide anything. Su Kuei's expression sunk upon hearing this. He immediately smiled bitterly and shook his head. After getting to know Lin Dong's group, he gradually began to realize that trouble would follow these people no matter where they went. Just moments ago, they had been targeted by a group of mysterious and troublesome people when they were recuperating. However, he did not feel any regret. After all, if it were not for Lin Dong's group, both Su Ru and him would likely have difficulty even entering Wanxiang City. Moreover, these 3 seemed to be able to resolve any trouble they encountered. Occasionally, even Su Kuei could not help but feel a little anticipation as he watched just how far these 3 low-rank Empire fellows could go in the 100 Empire War, where experts were as numerous as the clouds. Let's go. We'll increase our speed. We have fallen behind by a day, and we need to catch up by morning. Lin Dong was unaware of what Su Kuei was thinking. He raised his head to look at the sky before waving his hand. His body moved as he suddenly raised his speed. That body of his transformed into a flash that rushed towards the deeper regions of the forest. Little Flame and the others followed closely behind. Through the entire night, Lin Dong's group had hurried towards the central region without rest. Other than some small detours, no other unexpected situations had arisen to hinder their advancement. Hence, when the dark black sky once again became dark red in color, Lin Dong's group was already vaguely able to sense an increasingly number of presences around. There were at least over a dozen super cities within the core region. Amongst these cities, there were those that were even larger than Wanxiang City. The human traffic that had entered from these cities would also gradually move deeper and gather together. Due to the unique competition method in this place, some cruel struggles would also gradually appear. In order to snatch others' nirvana seals, it was likely that various methods would be continuously displayed. Gag. Lin Dong's group paused on a gigantic tree. Their eyes swept over the place as quite a number of dispirited faces and somewhat miserable figures entered their view. Most of these people were pale-faced, and there was a grayish-white despair within their eyes. The people who had lost their nirvana seals. Su Kuei watched this and said. However, there was no pity in his voice. In a place like this, there was no mercy, only victory. They are really pitiful. Although Su Ru's character had changed a little, she was after all still a kind young lady. She bit her lips gently and uttered those words when she saw this scene. The victor is king. This is a principle that has never changed since ancient times. Lin Dong softly said. This was the rule of this place, and even they were no exception to it. Even he did not dare to guarantee that he would successfully reach the end and no extremely troublesome opponents would appear next and cause him to lose his nirvana seal. Su Ru gently bit her lips. She might be kind by nature, but she was no fool. Therefore, she would not say those laughable words of asking Lin Dong to help these people. She clearly understood that if she had not met Lin Dong's group, Su Kuei and her might not even possess the qualifications to enter the core region. It was likely that their fate would be even more pitiful than this group. Go. Lin Dong did not plan to remain in this place for long. He waved his hand and rushed forward. The sound of wind being split apart caused the pale-faced people to look over. However, they did not show any additional emotion. Due to them having gradually caught up to the large group that had swarmed over from all the various great cities, the surrounding atmosphere had also become increasingly heavier. Various fights were enacted in front of them. In a short few minutes, Lin Dong had saw nearly 10 battles. Both sides had fought to the death because of the Nirvana seals. This kind of atmosphere faintly showed signs of making everyone go insane. Brother Lin Dong. There is a resting area ahead. This kind of place is extremely chaotic. After all the experts within the ancient battlefields are currently gathering towards the core region. It is not surprising to meet any monsters. The surrounding dense forest began to become sparse as Su Kuei looked into the distance and said, "Let's just bypass it." Lin Dong mused for a moment before saying. He did not wish to waste too much time in this place. Although they really needed to absorb Nirvana seals to raise their level, it was likely that they would have even more opportunities later on. Su Kuei also nodded upon hearing this. However, just as they were gradually approaching the resting area, Lin Dong suddenly slowed down. "Brother Lin Dong. What is it?" Su Kuei asked in a surprised manner. He was startled upon seeing Lin Dong suddenly slow down. Lin Dong raised his head and looked at the forest of scattered stone fragments nearby. There were many silhouettes around that place, causing it to appear extremely lively. Occasionally, there would be some wild and violent yuan power ripples unfurling. Clearly, it was not peaceful at all. There are some familiar auras there. Lin Dong stared at that place before suddenly speaking with a smile. There was an extremely wide plot of land littered with rock fragments within the forest. Giant trees that reached into the skies surrounded the place. One could vaguely see many people within that vacant space, and also hear sounds of activity being continuously emitted from within. Upon taking a closer look, one would see a wide green ancient stone square. Currently, there were many figures clustered on the square. "Don't go overboard. We have already given you a Nirvana seal. What else do you want? We are not interested in this kind of duel." One could faintly hear a furious voice from the square. When the surrounding onlookers heard these words, they quietly sighed as a pitying and bitter smile flashed across their eyes. Past the surrounding crowd, one would see two groups facing off at the center of the wide square. One of the groups consisted of 3 people whose faces were rather familiar. Upon closer inspection, one would be surprised to find that they were the Mo Ling trio, who had obtained the inheritance of the Protector sect. The 3 of them had left the ancient hall in advance, after having exited the ancient treasure trove back then. In the end, they had entered the core region from another great city, and hence had not met Lin Dong till now. The Mo Ling trio's strength had greatly soared to the 3 yuan Nirvana stage due to the inheritance they received. Although this kind of strength was not considered overly strong within the core region, it was still quite good. At the very least, if they were not bestowed such a lucky opportunity, they would likely not even possess the qualifications to enter this place. Opposite Mo Ling's group were a couple of black-clothed figures. Their gazes were full of mockery, as they stared at the furious trio like a cat toying with a mouse. "Mo Ling, we are already extremely merciful not to directly rob your group of everything without even uttering a word. Moreover, we have even given your group a chance to retaliate. As long as you can defeat us, not only will you be able to keep your Nirvana seal, but you will also be able to take the Nirvana seal from our hands. Where else can you find such a good deal?" A black-clothed man, who was the leader of that black-clothed group, smilingly said. "We do not wish to fight you." Mo Ling spoke with a deep voice. His eyes looked towards a large tree that was behind this group of people. These people did not show any intention of intervening with the trouble here. Their eyes were shut and the terrifying ripple, which they vaguely emitted, deterred everyone in the wide square. These people belonged to the same empire. Moreover, it was an extremely powerful super-empire. Mo Ling had a good understanding of them. This was because they had all entered this core region from the same great city. The reason that these fellows would target them was because they had some small conflict earlier. Originally, Mo Ling was worried that they would seek revenge, and had purposefully reduced their speed a little. Unexpectedly, they still wounded up meeting here. Although Mo Ling's group had obtained some inheritance, they were clearly unable to compare with these super empires with a strong foundation. Therefore, Mo Ling's group had chosen to give in when the other party acted in an overbearing manner. Originally, they had planned to rest a little when they had arrived at this place earlier. It was unexpected that they ended up coincidentally meeting these fellows. After which, this other party had found an excuse to head over here. Putting it nicely, their intention was to spar. However, the ultimate aim of this group was the Nirvana seal in their hands. Mo Ling's group was unable to fight against this kind of powerful faction. After careful consideration, they could only get Man Shan to accept the challenge. In the end, he had lost to the other party, because of some despicable tactics. Du Yun's and Man Shan's faces were green as they stood beside Mo Ling. Clearly, their hearts were feeling quite furious. There were clearly quite a number of people observing from around the wide square. However, not a single person dare say too much. Their eyes were filled with pity and gloating expressions as they looked at Mo Ling's group. All of them knew that this group of black-clothed man in front of them belonged to the Great Wei Empire, a super empire. This group was worthy of being the overlord in this resting area, and no one dared offend them. One could only describe Mo Ling's group to be a little too unlucky to have been targeted by them. Mo Ling, why do you need to say such childish words? What can you do if we directly snatch your Nirvana seals in this place? That black-clothed man smiled faintly. His tone was filled with scorn. On account that you have also come in from the same great city, I shall give you a choice. Take the initiative and hand over a Nirvana seal, and we will let you leave. Else, we will attack and snatch all of it. What do you say? Mo Ling's fist immediately tightened when he heard the words of this black-clothed man. Du Yun and Man Shan by the side felt a great fury within them. Their faces turned cold and they involuntarily wanted to attack. However, they were stopped by Mo Ling again. Damn it, let's just fight. Man Shan gritted his teeth and said. Useless. Mo Ling gently shook his head. His eyes leaped past the black-clothed man in front and looked towards the group of people seated under the large tree a short distance away. Those people were the truly top-tier individuals with extraordinary abilities. If they were to intervene, the chances of Mo Ling's group victory would be zero. Du Yun's and Man Shan's also looked over. Their faces immediately became dim. They were able to see some of the extremely dazzling figures within the great heavy city called Great Winding City. When they looked over, there was a black-clothed cold-faced young man under the large tree, who was glancing at them indifferently. His eyes did not contain the slightest pity. He was merely looking down at them with disdain. If you want Nirvana seal, we will give it to you. Mo Ling's expression changed. Finally, he shook his head in a slumped manner. He directly walked forward and extended his hand. A silver-colored Nirvana seal was on his palm. This is called understanding the situation. That black-clothed man smiled in a pleased manner. He extended his hand and unceremoniously absorbed the Nirvana seal in Mo Ling's hand. After which, he waved his hand and lazily said, "Get lost. Do not appear in front of the eyes of our Great Wei Empire in the future. Otherwise, You will not even be able to protect the last Nirvana seal. A group of losers from a low-ranked empire. Mo Ling clenched his fist tightly. His fingernails were inserted into his palm, emitting waves of piercing pain. He knew that this was the difference brought about due to the great foundation the other party had. If it was not because of the super empire sitting behind these fellows in front of them, Mo Ling would definitely let them pay the price. Unfortunately, they did not possess such a strong background. Go. The expression in Mo Ling's eyes dimmed slightly. He did not say anything more, as he led the dispirited Du Yun and Man Shan to leave amidst the numerous pitiful eyes from around him. When they had turned around, the surrounding people also spread apart and formed a path for them. All of these people quietly shook their heads as they watched Mo Ling's group, who were just like dogs which had lost their homes. Ha ha! The few people from the Great Wei Empire involuntarily laughed in a proud manner when they saw this situation. Their laughter was filled with arrogance and joy. This caused quite a number of people to frown slightly upon seeing this. However, no one dared to say anything. That cold-faced black-clothed young man under the large tree curled his mouth slightly. He was just about to speak, when his eyes suddenly dilated. He suddenly turned towards another direction of the empty spot within the forest. An empty part was slowly being spread from within the human crowd as Mo Ling trio swiftly walked out with ugly faces. However, Mo Ling, who was right at the front, suddenly paused. Du Yun and Man Shan, who were behind, were unable to stop in time and collided onto his back. Only then did they recover. They raised their heads. Those eyes of theirs looked towards the front and their expressions suddenly changed. It was as though they felt a little ashamed. The crowd's gazes followed theirs and looked over, only to find that a couple of figures were standing at the end of the path that had been formed. The leader of that group was a leisurely-looking young man. There were 3 men and 1 woman following behind him. Their eyes were also staring at Mo Ling trio. The group of people that had suddenly appeared was naturally Lin Dong's group, which had hurried over. He had saw the situation earlier, but did not say anything. All he did was to stare at Mo Ling's group. What happened? Lin Dong curled his mouth slightly and softly asked. Mo Ling's expression changed a little. He quickly walked forward and revealed a smile on his face. He said, "We are actually able to meet you here. How coincidental. It's nothing. Let's go." Du Yun and Man Shan widened their mouths behind Mo Ling, but ultimately did not say anything. Lin Dong had already helped them many times. If they needed the latter to stand up for them all the time, they would really be living without any dignity. Moreover, that Great Wei Empire was simply too strong and they did not wish to implicate Lin Dong. After all, this time around, the empire that they met was no longer some high-ranked empire. Instead, it was a genuine super empire. A reinforcement. The black-clothed man on the wide square parted his mouth into a smile and laughed out loud when he saw this. Those people around also stared over at this point. They felt quite a great amount of interest. Why aren't you fighting? I think that you should be able to deal with this kind of character. Lin Dong ignored that enigmatic manner of that fellow. All he did was to look at Mo Ling in front of him and asked faintly. They, behind them is a super empire. Mo Ling clenched his fist tightly. His voice was a little hoarse when he spoke. He thought that he might be looked down upon by Lin Dong at this moment. This was because he had never seen Lin Dong afraid of anyone ever since he got to know the latter. Lin Dong had not felt any fear even when they had just entered this ancient realm. Lin Dong looked at Mo Ling, whose eyes had turned red from having suppressed himself. He merely laughed softly and patted the latter's shoulder. After which, his gaze leaped past the wide square and looked towards the group of people with shocking aura under the large tree. I will support all of you no matter what happens today. Do you dare to go and snatch the Nirvana seal that you have lost? Mo Ling was startled upon hearing the soft voice that sounded beside his ear. He suddenly raised his head and looked at the smiling young man. Both of his eyes instantly turned red. After which, he began to nod his head violently in a crazy fashion. You are the boss, we'll listen to you. The smile on Lin Dong's face grew even wider upon seeing Mo Ling's red eyes, before he chuckled and asked, Do you trust me? I have never doubted you from the start. Mo Ling exhaled deeply. Because he had delayed entering the core region, he had not heard of the face-off between Lin Dong and the Wind Cloud Empire. However, this did not affect the unshakable confidence he had in Lin Dong. This confidence had sprouted in his heart due to Lin Dong's various actions since the start of the 100 Empire War. Even now, he was still confident in the latter even in the face of a super empire. At the beginning, he did not wish to implicate Lin Dong in this matter. One reason was that he did not wish to trouble Lin Dong and another was that he did not want Lin Dong to clean up after them again. However, he never imagined that Lin Dong would say such words. This time, Lin Dong did not take the initiative to intervene and help them take back their pride. Instead, he merely calmly informed them that although the other party had the backing of a super empire, he, Lin Dong, had their backs. There was a similar excitement surging in the eyes of Du Yun and Man Shan. They immediately gritted their teeth tightly as a fierce glint flickered within their eyes. Their originally dispirited appearance had disappeared almost instantaneously, causing them to look as though they had turned into someone else. Everyone around them were a little stunned when they saw the Mo Ling trio, who had suddenly changed from dogs, which had lost their homes, into individuals filled with spirit. They clearly did not understand why the group would undergo such a drastic transformation after seeing Lin Dong. Could it be that this person was able to give them the backing to provoke a super empire? Go, use your own strength to snatch back the things that belongs to you. Although we are from a low-rank empire, I will handle any consequences of today. Lin Dong waved his hand and laughed. Low-rank empire. Lin Dong did not make much of an attempt to hide his words. Therefore, his voice had spread rather far. The expressions of those around immediately became rather interesting, as their gazes stared at the former in a strange manner. Originally, they had wondered what gave Lin Dong's group the courage to say such words. Unexpectedly, he also came from a low-rank empire. It was truly a mystery how these fellows managed to muddle into the core region. Mo Ling's group merely nodded their heads heavily amidst the many interesting gazes from around them. After which, they suddenly turned around and once again walked back towards the wide square with surging killing intent. Oh, you've got guts. That few black-clothed man on the square was still standing there. They had been watching Lin Dong's group with icy glares from the start. When they saw Mo Ling's group boldly approach them, they immediately began to laugh in a strange manner. Kid, don't randomly attempt to appear mighty. It will be too late for regrets in future. I believe that you do not have the qualifications to meddle in our affairs. The leader in black stared at Lin Dong and sneered. Lin Dong merely grinned upon hearing this. He ignored the small fries and directly raised his head to watch the other group under the large tree, who also looked over in response. A faint chillness flashed over Lin Dong's face at this moment. Revealing your arrogance, you are seeking death. A white-haired man beside the cold black-clothed young man parted his mouth into a smile and spoke in a sinister manner. The black-clothed young man's sharp blade-like eyes swept over Lin Dong, while playful look smirk formed from the corner of his mouth. His body, which was originally intending to stand up, once again sat down. He wanted to see just how these people were going to resist today. Li Kuan, since others wants to test the capabilities of our great Wei Empire, you should just test theirs in return. The black-clothed young man tapped his 5 fingers. A faintly discernible icy aura lingered over his fingertips as he softly spoke. Understood. The man in the arena immediately responded in a respectful manner upon hearing this. A ferocious expression surged up his face as he turned around. He stared at the approaching Mo Ling's group as his lips parted and venomous words dripped from his mouth. I have given you a path to live. Since you refuse to take it, do not blame me for being merciless. Bang! A low and deep sound suddenly erupted from under Li Kuan's feet. Faced with this ferocious face of Li Kuan, Mo Ling's group did not utter any unnecessary words. Instead, mighty yuan power surged out from within their bodies, causing Li Kuan's expression to change a little. Clearly, they did not expect that Mo Ling's group would actually also be this strong after going all out. Kill them. Show no mercy. Li Kuan cried out coldly. The Mo Ling trio's courage to provoke the Great Wei Empire had clearly caused him to become rather furious. If he did not teach these people a proper lesson today, it was likely that the reputation of the Great Wei Empire would become the butt of others' jokes. There were 4 figures behind Li Kuan. All 4 of them had rather powerful auras. Hence, after Li Kuan's cry sounded, these 4 figures also abruptly charged forward. Their yuan power undulations had similarly reached the 3 yuan nirvana stage. Although they were also at the 3 yuan nirvana stage, they were clearly significantly weaker in comparison to Mo Ling's group. No matter how one put it, the Mo Ling trio had obtained a sex inheritance. Perhaps this would not allow them to compare to the leaders of those super empires, but they were definitely not a group who could be dealt with by ordinary characters. Numerous figures criss-crossed at lightning speed, while formidable martial arts attacks containing powerful yuan power ferociously flew out. Bang bang bang. Everyone watched the wild and violent ripples that was emitted from the point where the human figures clashed. Surprise was present in the eyes of quite a number of people. Clearly, they did not expect that Mo Ling's group, who had swallowed such an insult earlier, to actually possess such fighting strength. These 3 fellows have progressed quite well, little Martin smiled and said when he saw this scene. After all, they have also obtained a sect inheritance. It is sufficient to make up for the gap in their foundation. Lin Dong nodded. The Mo Ling trio's progress could already be considered to be extremely quick. From the looks of it, the benefits that they had obtained from the inheritance was quite significant. After all, the current Lin Dong was merely had the strength of the peak 3 yuan nirvana stage. Of course, his 3 yuan nirvana stage strength was sufficient to kill Feng Kang and the other 4 yuan nirvana stage experts. Does Big Brother Lin Dong know them? Su Ru softly asked. Yes. They came from the same empire as me. Lin Dong smiled and replied. Su Ru blinked her large eyes. Evidently also extremely surprised. After all, she knew Lin Dong's ferocity rather well. However, comparatively speaking, Mo Ling and others seemed lot more ordinary. It looks like they are about to win. The usually quiet little flame suddenly spoke in a flat voice. Bang! His words had barely faded when a low and deep sound rang out in the battleground. The 4 Great Wei Empire experts shot backwards, appearing extremely miserable. They were clearly in a completely disadvantageous situation. Mo Ling's group swiftly absorbed the Nirvana seals in the hands of these 4 people when they were sent flying. Bastards! Li Kuan's eyes immediately darkened upon seeing the 4's swift defeat. However, before he could take action, Mo Ling had already rushed over. The latter's long hand seemed to dance as a wild and violent yuan power gathered at lightning speed. Returning wild yuan army. Mo Ling's handsome face was currently covered with an almost maniacal expression. The martial arts which he had used was extremely powerful. From the looks of the yuan power that was seemingly gathering in Mo Ling's palm, it was clear that it had reached the low-grade soul martial arts level. Mo Ling, you dare. Mo Ling's lightning-like attack also caused Li Kuan's face to change drastically. This was especially the case when he sensed the wild violence from the former's palm. His expression grew even uglier as he quickly maneuvered his yuan power and threw his fist forward. Mo Ling's face was cold as ice. His wild martial arts attack violently smashed onto Li Kuan's fist. A mighty force erupted, which directly sent Li Kuan flying. A ugh sound could be heard as a mouthful of fresh blood was spat out. Clamor. An uproar immediately sounded from all around when everyone saw Mo Ling send Li Kuan flying with a single strike. However, the surprise in their eyes disappeared as quickly as it had come as they looked at Mo Ling with pity. Did this fellow forget that there was a true expert from the Great Wei Empire watching from the sidelines? Sending a member of the Great Wei Empire flying in front of so many people. This matter would likely not end well. Useless. That white-haired man under the large tree watched this scene with a sunken expression in his eyes. His face immediately turned cold as he slammed a palm into the ground, which directly transformed into a black light that shot out. Mighty yuan power swept outwards. It turns out that he was 4 yuan nirvana stage expert. That white-haired man was just like the great peng that had extended its wings. In a flash, he appeared in the air above Mo Ling. With a malicious laugh, his hand transformed into a yuan power storm, as it was violently fanned towards the latter. Even a bastard from my Great Wei Empire is more noble than you lowly beings. I will let you know just what you cannot touch. Formidable yuan power tore through the air, containing an astonishing destructive force, as it fanned towards Mo Ling like lightning. Its speed was as fast as a thunderbolt. Mo Ling's expression changed when he felt this wild and violent strength. He was just about to retaliate when a wind sound was suddenly transmitted from behind them. A strong metal tower-like figure landed heavily in front of him as incomparably powerful rod images erupted and directly smashed onto the yuan power storm. Get lost. A low and deep cry sounded as a terrifying strength spread out from the rod. Everyone was stunned to see that the body of the white-haired man shoot backwards. With a bang, he collided onto a large tree before falling down miserably. The eyes of that cold-faced black-clothed man grew darker at this moment. He made a snapping motion with his fingers as a black-colored dagger flashed and appeared. With a jerk of his arm, a black light appeared to have penetrated through the air. This light contained a wind that could split the body of a 4 yuan nirvana stage expert, as shot towards Little Flame's throat at a crafty angle. Clang! The black light rushed past. However, when it was still several feet from Little Flame, a green light suddenly shot out from behind him. It ferociously collided with the black light, forcefully shattered the dagger. Swoosh! The expression of the cold black-clothed man suddenly changed when the dagger was shattered. In the reflection of his eyes, a figure appeared in front of him in a ghost-like manner, before a flickering cold green scale paused in front of his forehead. I think that I, Lin Dong, can still take care of the matter here. The entire place was silent. Lin Dong smiled a little as he watched the many stunned faces. His soft voice carried an icy chill as it quietly echoed. Lin Dong. The name from Lin Dong's mouth suddenly caused the pupils of quite a number of people to rapidly shrink. At this moment, they had finally realized who Lin Dong was. The noisy commotion around the messy rock ground instantly came to a halt at this moment. Those gazes, that were previously filled with a gloating expression, had been replaced by traces of shock that gradually climbed from deep within their eyes. Lin Dong. This name that contained some magical allure caused their hearts to quietly tremble when they heard it. Soon after they entered this core region, They had heard of the massive soul-stirring battle that had occurred at the entrance of Wanxiang City. At that place, the super empire known as the Wind Cloud Empire did not even have the time to do anything in the core region before it was completely wrecked. The ones who defeated them did not have an alarming background. Rather, these people merely originated from a low-rank empire. A face-off between a super empire and a low-rank empire eventually ended with the low-rank empire as the victor. This enormous contrast was sufficient to cause anyone to feel shocked. As members of various empires, all of them understood the huge gulf that existed between these two entities. Even if some charmed individuals were able to obtain an inheritance, it would still be ludicrous for them to challenge a super empire. This was already evident based on the fact that the Mo Ling trio chose to endure and give way previously. Therefore, with this knowledge in mind, when news of their triumph spread out, it was able to create a stunning impact. Upon learning the result of this shocking battle, almost everyone firmly remembered his name. It was the name that dared to use the strength of a low-rank empire to challenge a super empire. Lin Dong. At this moment, that name, which merely existed in the rumors, has finally appeared in front of them. Gulp. Some people quietly swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Their eyes contained some reverence and fear as they stared at the figure in the distance. Clearly, no one had expected that this ordinary-looking young man was actually that big shot that was famed across the entire core region. In the battlefield, the Mo Ling trio turned calm, because of the suddenly silent atmosphere. Their eyes looked at Lin Dong, who had appeared in a phantom-like fashion in front of a leader of the Great Wei Empire. At this moment, a sharp scale in Lin Dong's hand was right in front of the other party's forehead, causing the latter to be afraid of making any move. Moving like a thunderbolt. This phrase flashed across Mo Ling's head. He did not see how Lin Dong had attacked. Moreover, it was also obvious that the leader from the Great Wei Empire did not either. Otherwise, it was impossible for the other party to allow Lin Dong to place such a sharp weapon in front of his forehead. That fellow has become stronger again. Mo Ling's group exchanged looks with one another. They were able to see some shock and complicated emotions within each other's eyes. The expressions of all the experts from the Great Wei Empire under the large tree also changed drastically at this moment. In fact, when they saw that incomparably sharp green-colored scale that was held between Lin Dong's fingers, their eyes involuntarily shrunk. Lin Dong. The cold-faced black-clothed young man's expression clearly stiffened for an instant. His pupils reflected the cold glint from the green-colored scale. The corner of his mouth twitched a little as he said, "No wonder you are so arrogant. You really do have some ability. Why don't we just forget about this matter? If we were to really pursue responsibility, your guys deserve it." Lin Dong glanced at the couple of unlucky people, whose nirvana seals had been absorbed by Mo Ling's group through his peripheral vision. After which, he stared at the cold young man in front of him and laughed faintly. They had snatched the nirvana seals from members of my Great Wei Empire in front of so many people. Do you think that this matter can end peacefully? The cold young man narrowed his eyes and spoke with a chilly smile. Shall we fight then? The smile on Lin Dong's face became a little denser. His gaze swept across the hand of the cold young man, and was vaguely able to see some flickering golden light. The allure of a heavenly-grade nirvana seal is quite powerful. You must have a big appetite, since you dare to snatch the nirvana seal from me. Chen Jun, aren't you afraid that you will not be able to swallow it? The cold glint in the cool young man's eyes surged. He flicked his finger and a black light dagger shot out from his finger. It contained waves of shocking sharp aura, as it pierced towards Lin Dong's throat with lightning-like speed. Clang! The black light rushed out. However, just as it was about to penetrate Lin Dong's throat, a green scale suddenly surfaced from his throat area. With a clang sound, it actually directly shattered the dagger into dust. Swoosh swoosh. Chen Jun's eyes sunk slightly after his attack was blocked. His body transformed into numerous afterimages, as he quickly withdrew. At the same time, he flicked all of his 10 fingers at once. Numerous razor-like black light were blasted out in all directions, directly covering all of Lin Dong's fatal spots. Lin Dong let out a cold laughter when he saw that Chen Jun had attacked in such a vicious manner. He immediately clenched his hand tightly. Green glow gathered in it in a lightning-like manner. Finally, it transformed into a thin green scale shield. This green scale shield was not thick and it was only 1 feet in size. Cold glint permeated its edge, appearing as though it had cut the space to the point of forming some faint ripples. Clang clang clang. However, this thin and light green scale armor directly blocked all of the sharp black light that could easily penetrate through the flesh of an expert at the peak of the 3-yuan nirvana stage. Sparks flew in all directions as it did so. However, these seemingly sharp black light had difficulty approaching Lin Dong's body. Swoosh. Lin Dong curled his palm, before his green scale shield suddenly began to rotate. After which, it emitted a whir sound before transforming into a green light that penetrated through the empty air and directly rushed towards Chen Jun. The speed at which the green light shield flew out was so quick that one's naked eye would not be able to detect it. Even Chen Jun could only see a green light flash past his eyes. Furthermore, he was able to sense a rich feeling of danger from it. Without daring to slight the attack, Chen Jun tossed his hand before a black-colored large bell shot out with a whistle and ruthless charge towards the green light. This black-colored large bell was clearly quite a powerful earthly soul treasure. Sound of wind being split apart continuously sounded as it rushed out. Clearly, it possessed quite a strong offensive strength. Gong. The green light heavily struck onto the green-colored large bell. Immediately, a clear bell chime erupted over the mid-air. Many large trees were directly sliced apart wherever the sound wave passed. Crack lines also began to spread on the black-colored bell at a shocking speed while the sonic wave spread. Within a short instant, a shattering sound was emitted before the bell was completely blasted apart. Chen Jun's powerful earthly soul treasure was actually completely destroyed upon the first collision. Swoosh. When the black-colored large bell broke apart, the green light once again rushed out. It was locked onto Chen Jun. That buzzing sound that was emitted due to high-speed rotation was just like the sickle of a death god, ready to take the life of another. Ghost Blade Seal. Chen Jun's face had become completely grave as the green light rushed over. The seals formed by his hands changed. Finally, he let out a low cry. Vast and mighty sharp yuan power swept out, transforming into a black-colored ghost blade which slashed downwards in a furious manner. Clang! The black-colored ghost blade that was formed from yuan power ruthlessly hacked onto the green light. A clear metallic sound immediately spread. Soon after, wind began to surge. The green scale shield and the black-colored ghost blade shot backwards. Finally, it was blasted into fragments in the mid-air. Some of the fragments even forced that Chen Jun to dodge in a somewhat miserable manner. This fight was merely a split second long. However, there was no need to even discuss who had the upper hand. Chen Jun's body was a little miserable as he landed on a large tree. His expression was unusually ugly. However, his eyes, which were once again directed towards Lin Dong, no longer contained the slightest underestimation. Instead, it was a completely solemn one. Originally, I thought that the news was merely rumors. However, it seems like it is true, Chen Jun coldly said. Although he had heard of Lin Dong defeating the Wind Cloud Empire, his heart still had some doubt. However, After the previous fight, Chen Jun had completely grasped Lin Dong's strength. With his ability, defeating Feng Kang from the Wind Cloud Empire was not impossible. The people around quietly felt shocked when they heard this. This was especially the case for those experts from the Great Wei Empire, and their faces were extremely interesting. Their eyes with fear when they looked at Lin Dong, and they no longer contained the domineering look from earlier. I am too lazy to be bothered if your super empire wants to act mighty. However, you should not do it to my friends. Lin Dong raised his head. His eyes were calm as he observed Chen Yun before he slowly spoke. At this moment, Little Flame and the rest had also arrived behind Lin Dong. Their eyes vaguely contained a fierce glint as they stared at the Great Wei Empire in front of them. There was a sign that they would attack at the slightest disagreement. The surrounding people quietly became cautious as they sensed this tense atmosphere. Upon learning of the identity of Lin Dong's group, no one would think that they were overestimating their own strength and seeking defeat. After all, though the Great Wei Empire was powerful, they were still a little weaker compared to the Wind Cloud Empire. Since Lin Dong's group was able to finish off the Wind Cloud Empire, it would not be impossible for them to handle the Great Wei Empire. Chen Jun's face was gloomy as he looked at Lin Dong's group from the large tree. His eyes flickered slightly. Finally, he scattered the surging yuan power around him unwillingly. He understood that if he was to really fight with Lin Dong, the party that would likely end up losing was them. Everyone sighed in disappointment upon seeing this scene. There was an unknown feeling in their eyes. They had never expected that even a super empire like the Great Wei Empire could only choose to withdraw in front of Lin Dong's group. These fellows were simply too phenomenal. Lin Dong, I must admit that you are skilled. However, you should not be too arrogant. Those fellows who had obtained the inheritance of the 4 great demon sects of the Ground Evil Alliance from this ancient battlefield are currently searching for you. Hee, I wonder whether you can still act so arrogantly in front of them. Chen Jun stared at Lin Dong before suddenly emitting a cold laughter. There was a gloating look in his eyes. However, he did not say much more. After uttering those words, his body moved and he led his group and swiftly retreated. The 4 great demon sects of the Ground Evil Alliance. Lin Dong frowned slightly as he watched Chen Yun's withdrawing figure. He muttered to himself. What exactly was the relationship between this Ground Evil Alliance and the 4 great mysterious sect of the Qiangang Alliance in the ancient secret trove? This video will end here.